Thank you everybody for coming, and today we are going to talk about our kind of contract, which is an EJR platform, which is trying to control the rental market. We have two different kind of contracts. We have actually residential and commercial, as we can see. Today we're going to dig deep in the residential, but we'll talk about our vision in EJR, which is the platform who's controlling the rental market. So basically, as I was saying, is that in the commercial contract, in residential contract, is kind of simple. It isn't that complicated. We have agreed upon certain terms with the Ministry of Justice. Our main goal is, which is the most important goal for us, is that to reduce the amount of cases that's in Ministry of Justice with regard to the rental market. Now, as you can see in Saudi Arabia, it's huge and the market is huge, okay? We started in 2017. Today, we have actually signed up to 10 million contracts. And 10 million contracts is, when we actually dealt with our friends in Ministry of Justice, they were just telling us that it's consuming so much time with them to solve the cases. And since the market is huge, so we were trying to find a way where actually the solving for issues are effective and immediate, okay? So we were coordinating with each other for the terms of the contract. And Ministry of Justice, we were having certain terms for the residential and the commercial. Commercial, actually, we found it a little bit more complicated than the residential. Commercial actually is serving huge companies, huge contracts, and we're talking about contracts that's been actually with a huge projects and huge things. So what we were doing, our mission is that to regulate the whole market, and in addition, we will try to cover the whole market's need. Okay, since we started 2017, we were actually covering, let's say, up to 60% of the market. But as we go along, we were actually finding that what to add in addition. We were actually working with the brokers to tell us exactly what's the market need. And we were actually engaging with the tenant and lessors who are actually dealing in the marketplace in commercial wise. Our focus was actually that to add more conditions. Now we are having integration with them, that in the beginning we were just working alone, and we were trying to regulate. As we went along, we were actually integrating with many actually entities, either public or private, just so that we can validate all the data that we have with regard to the market, and in addition try to find the solution that suits we try to cover most of the commercial contracts. Actually there are in the beginning we started with a few services, but let's start with our objectives, which is that's key. So to protect all rights, that's the most importantly, to protect rights between tenant and lessor. And by actually using the platform, we gave the confidence to the market to come and engage with us. In 2018, it was regulated and it was forced by the market. So any contracts or any, let's assume, any actually requirements for the government today that's in the rental market, it actually needs an EJR contract. We have actually a unified one contract that has one terms, and it covers most of the terms. In the beginning, we started with the residential, and we went to the second version of the residential. Today, we are having the commercial contract, and we are going to let's say we will make it better to suit the market today by adding a few terms. As I said, that reduced deposit related to a rental sector, that's the biggest issue. When we started, there was actually, let's say, in the rental market, there was above, there was above than 50% or 60% of the rental market was having an issue with the rent, all the the cases in the Ministry of Justice. Today, we reduced actually up to 40% of the cases in the Ministry of Justice by how we are actually agreed upon a time where if the payment is actually due today, then there is a 15 days. If there is no payment, then the call is actually by Ministry of Justice automated. There is no need to apply or go to the Ministry of Justice. It's just you apply, you can actually apply on it online, and the judge will actually see if it's suitable. Then immediately he will take an action, and by this action we will hold all the accounts for the tenant, and will stop all the payment, and he will actually need to deal with it as fast as possible. And by this we reduced it. Exactly. Yeah, there is no need for any actions. The owner now today, if you pass the due date for the payment, you could actually apply for it in Najaz, which is a platform used by Ministry of Justice, and you just apply for it. And by integrating with them, they would actually call a data from EJAR, from our platform, to see all the payment schedule, all the details of the contract, all the details of the tenant, okay, and will actually ask for the PDF as well through the integration. And by having the PDF, it will clarify by engaging all the data between the API and what's in the backend and the PDF. And by this, they would make a call immediately and quick. We are actually our main vision in the beginning was actually to regulate the market. As we went along, we actually gathered many data, so much data in the market, which actually allow us to make the market better, first of all, and sell this data. For instance, we have actually the behavior of the market, where we could actually give the investor a clear picture of the rental market in the whole country by actually going through a map and clicking through the map, and you would actually see exactly how are you going to engage, if this is a rental, if this is an investment opportunity or no, by actually gathering the data and validating the data through our system. We have actually achieved so many digital integration with many entities. In the beginning, actually, we have them with the private sector and public sector, and by this, we have the clear data for each. We are helping actually the market with clear data. Rental market now is a huge. Comparing it to a selling market and comparing it to the investment market, it's the biggest sector of this sector. Like the rental is, I think I would say, takes 60 to 70% of the market. So by having this data, we are allowing other systems to engage with us to give a validate data through that, and provide electronic tools and solutions that value facility and rental operation, localize jobs with the sector. Actually, yeah, we increased. In the beginning, we started with little, without the regulation. We had actually, the amount of broker in the market wasn't huge, but by actually applying these terms, we actually engaged with them more, and they had the confidence to start working with us more. And then we increased the number by, now we have more than 1,200,000 broker, which was in the beginning not more than 300,000. So today, by actually giving the opportunity to them to see to deal with the market, and by saving their rights, they engaged with us more, and they came working with us more. Some of our EJAR update lately was actually in the beginning, we started to regulate, but if in order to change the contract, you need to cancel the contract. Our system wasn't actually let's say, wasn't actually very engaging with as what the market needs. As we go along, we were trying to make new services, such as, for example, contract transfer, access through unified national access platform, which is NAFAD. Today, actually, we increased the confidence of this platform. NAFAD is actually a unified entering system through all the systems that's governmental in Saudi Arabia, and by engaging with them today, you have the fully confident that once you enter HR, then all your data is safe. And the contract transfer, today we allow actually tenant to let us say that we are allowing the tenant to choose another tenant to complete the contract. Since we say that the system is strict, you are actually obligated once you start the contract to finish the contract. If not, then you need to go through the court system, and it is an issue with you. Today, no, we allow it actually. If you find another tenant, you could actually agree upon, and by the landlord. If he agrees, then the contract can be transferred from one person to another without even cancelling the contract, and the obligation actually transferred from previous tenant to the new tenant. We have actually had working with the electricity company and national electricity and water company here in Saudi Arabia, where once you enter the contract today, once you have a contract with anyone, you are actually able to transfer all the obligation in the electricity market to the tenant without needing for the landlord to hold the issue. Why? We found an issue actually, especially with the commercial contracts, where the amount of bill is huge, and some of them they actually would not actually pay on the time. And since that, we had an issue with Ministry of Justice, takes so much time and the amount of bill is huge. So without actually integrating with them today, once you sign the contract, once you have the contract signed between both parties, and that's automated, it would immediately transfer to your obligation, and then you will deal with it without the landlord. Once the contract is cancelled or end the contract, it will go back to the landlord, and the landlord doesn't need to deal with the electricity or anything. It will be zero. Once he actually gave once he signed the contract in the beginning, it was actually transferred, the obligation, and once he received it back, it will come back to him. So he doesn't need to deal with the electricity, and electricity and water as well. And there is actually one of the issues that we have found, and especially with commercial and as well as residential. But residential, we are not talking about much amount. No, it's actually in the commercial, which is actually move in and move out form. We have actually automated the system to have a move in, move out form. So once you actually approve the contract will be written by a broker, and it will be sent to the landlord and the tenant. Once it's been sent, the journey of approving the contract between both parties, once you approve the contract, you will have a move-in form. Move-in form will save all your rights. If there is an issue with building, if there is an issue with either the building, the apartment, like any kind of unit, okay, you will be able to prove yourself by saying that if there is an issue, then you will write exactly how much you have cost you to solve the issue, and adding pictures if there is pictures, adding move-in form if the company, like we have some brokers here who are actually having their own system. So they wanted to work with us, so we actually allowed them to integrate with us, and as well as having their own form, having their own way of dealing with it, such as move-in form. You can add this move-in form and you can prove your case. Once you move out, you will have the same thing, which is move-out form. If there is agreed upon between both parties, then that's fine. If there is no agreed upon, then there will be an expert who's going out to deal with the case. he will actually, based on the move-in form and move-out form, he will check it out, and once he check it out, he would give his own opinion, and based on them, we will actually deal with the issue. As well as we actually add something that last year, which is saving the security amount. We have found that in the market here, mostly the security amount is actually being requested by the broker. But many cases, and we have saved many cases, saying that once the contract is finished, we don't really receive it back. So they just keep holding it and creating issues or creating whichever that is. Whomever not playing by the rule would create an issue just to save the security amount. Nowadays, no, actually once there is a security amount, we will save it in EJAR. That will stay as long as the contract is valid, as long as the contract is active. Once the contract is expired, we would ask both parties to deal with each other. If they deal with each other and agreed upon, we will return the money or split the money, whichever they agreed. If there is no agreement, as I said, there is expert. We will deal with the expert. Once we receive it from the expert, once we receive the report from the expert, based on the report, we would actually return the money, and those are trained by our program, and they are covering mostly the whole kingdom. So based on their report, and mostly they actually see the damage, and they will try to find in the market in multiple places how much will it cost, and would take the average and put it in put the report based on that, and would retain the money for this. See, in the once we start, you're welcome.
Thanks very much.
How are you?
Is it mandatory to use EJAR? Is it mandatory to use
Yes. In 2017, the platform was actually initiated. In 2018, it was mandatory by the law that you have to use EJAR. Today, if you want to deal with mostly any governmental entity, you have to use EJAR. If there is actually a requirement for a contract, you have to use EJAR. If you are a broker today, if you are actually even not a broker, if you are by yourself dealing with you want to rent some apartment or actually put the apartment or unit in the market, if you are not using EJAR, then by law you will be fined. Yes. So
for both parties?
For both parties, yes. Because whomever accept actually the contract. Because actually, even Ministry of Justice would not give a call for your contract. If once you actually approve your contract, okay, and try to use it in Ministry of Justice, immediately you will be fined. They will not count by it, and it's not valid. They won't deal with it as it's valid. We have actually part of EJAR, which is called Residental واقع إيجارية. تكلمي عربي؟ إيه. واقع إيجارية، الفكرة منها إيش؟ إذا كان في طرف ممتنع من الأطراف، حلو. في حالة إنه أنا اليوم بيني وبينك عقد ورقي، ممكن نكون مسوينه قبل الشبكة، وجيتي أنت تقولين أنا أبغى أسجل عقد في إيجار. اليوم أنا ملزم، ممتاز، إني أتوافق معك، لكن لو ما تطلبيني أنت أنا ما أتوافق معك، قل لا أنا أبغاها ورقي، لأنه الورقي كان معقد أكثر شوي. في هالحالة هذه أنت تطلبيه عن طريق إيجار في حالة اسمها واقع إيجارية. الواقع الإيجارية هذه الهدف منها إيش؟ الهدف منها إنك تطالبيني إني أنا أوثق العقد. طبعا بيستون إيش؟ أنت ترفعين الطلب وترفعين لي العقد، أنا أتأكد من الطلب وأتأكد من العقد. في حالة إنه صحيح، خلال 5 أيام عمل أنا لابد إنه يكون في عقد. في حالة إنه ما تم العقد هذا، خلاص أنت تطلعين من المسؤولية، أنا اللي أصير مسؤول. حلو، أنا راح أتحاسب. اللي هي بإيجار، منصة إيجار، واقع إيجارية اسمها. تستخدمين الواقع الإيجارية هذه عشان تثبتين حالتك بالعقد في حالة إنه ما في توافق بالأطراف. فاليوم العقد الإيجاري مهم جدا، لابد إنه يكون موجود بالسوق، لابد إنه يكون موجود في حالة إنه في حال وجود أي إيجار يحفظ حقوق. مثل ما قلت لك، احنا نتعامل مع وزارة العدل. اليوم العقد متنفذ عليه، ما يحتاج يعني ما مو مستلزم من العقد انه اخذ وقت على اساس اني انا انتظر ايجاري من عندك، لا بوقتها على طول. في حاله انك ما سددتي المبلغ لك مهله معينه، مهله مدتها 10 ايام 15 يوم، هي 15 يوم و30 يوم على حسب المده ما بين الدفعات. اذا كانت المده ما بين الدفعات اكثر من 6 شهور تكون 30 يوم. في حاله انه ما تم السداد خلال 30 يوم يحق لك التنفيذ عن طريق منصه ناجز، وما يحتاج ان يعني حتى زيارتك للمحكمه ما تحتاجينها. خلال 5 ايام في حال ما تم السداد على رقم السداد اللي موجود من وزاره العدل، راح يسحب المبالغ من حساباتك وتحصل بالعدل وتتوزع على ايجار. فاليوم تقريبا العقد التجاري هو اللي كان فيه جزئيات اضافيه اكثر من العقد السكني. اليوم العقد التجاري في مطالبات بالمبالغ المتزايده الشهريه والكم، فيه متطلبات مثلا زيادة المبالغ، زيادة الإيجار الشهري، في متطلبات يكون فيها عقد مشروط. يعني على سبيل المثال في حالة أنه مثلا كان عندك أنت مثلا محلات تبنينها أو شيء من القبيل هذا، وحبيتي تأجرين لهذا الشيء، ممكن نحن خلال منصة إيجار نسوي عقد مشروط. العقد المشروط إيش فيه هذا؟ العقد المشروط بناء على الشرط، إذا تحقق يتم العقد، ما تحقق الشرط هم راح يستفسرون من عندك ومن عندي. في حال ما تم قبول الشرط خلاص ينتهي العقد. فالعقد هذا كأنه يحفظ حقك في حال أنه تم قبول الشرط. في كثير ناس اليوم في محلات لسه باقي بالتخطيط وجالسين يأجرونها قبل ما، فاليوم إيجار قاعدين نحاول نغطيها. وبالغالب هذه بالتجاري، السكني نادر تكون موجودة بالسكني. إيجار متزايد، في خدمات تأجير من الباطن، صلاحيات، أعطائك صلاحيات اليوم أنك تراجعين كمستأجر، تراجع جميع المنصات الحكومية كمالك. هذه صلاحيات موجودة اليوم في إيجار. في صلاحيات تأجير بالباطن في حالة أنه مثلا تبغين تاخذين لك وحدة عمارة فيها مثلا 10 شقق والمستثمار لمدة 10 سنوات 15 سنة، لك الحقية تأجرين بالباطن وتكونين أنت تقومين بدور المؤجر وموافق عليه هذا الشيء وكل باسمك. طبعا يكون العقد الأساسي بين الأونر وبينك، والعقد الباطن يكون بينك. أي وطبعا هنا إيجار اليوم يكفل حقك كمستأجر وكمؤجر كل الحالتين. Airbnb اليوم موجودة، لكن اليوم رسوم العقد عندنا احنا 125 للعقد السكني لمدة سنة سواء يوم أو سنة، والعقد التجاري 200 لمدة السنة الأولى و400 لباقي السنوات. اليوم Airbnb لو نقول اليوم يسمح النظام، الشبكة تسمح بيوم واحد، بس نادر ما يستخدم يوم واحد عشان أكون معك واقعي، لأنه الرسم شوي عالي. وإحنا الآن بصدد دراسة العقود اليومية، إحنا راح نطلقها إن شاء الله قريب، يكون لها رسوم مختلفة عشان نقدر نستخدم إيجار اليوم حتى بالفنادق، حتى بالفنادق، بالاستراحات، بالسوق كامل يعني.
الوحدة السكنية عادية.
أي.
غير تجاري أبدا، لكنه عنده غرفة أجرها زي اللي قاعد يصير.
كيف؟
وحدة سكنية منزلية عادية.
حلو.
عنده غرفة أجرها عليها، هذه تخضع لإيجار.
هو اليوم حلو ممكن انك تسوينها، يعني ممكن انها تمشي بدون ايجار، لكن اليوم ايجار يمكنك انك تسوين العقد. لكن انا اقصد انه اليوم عندك انت وحده داخل بيت، والوحده هذه اجارها 100 باليوم، اجارها 150. هل من المنطق انه مثلا تدفع الرسوم 125 و100؟ فاليوم عشان كذا احنا حطينا بعين الاعتبار انه ندرس العقود اليوميه وان يكون فيها رسم خاص ثابت يكون معقول وبنفس الوقت يحفظ الحقوق. بهالحاله هذه بيكون الزامي. اليوم مو ملزم 100% انه يكون العقود اليوميه، بس احنا الى الان نعمل مع زملائنا بوزاره السياحه انه نحاول نغطي قدر المستطاع الفنادق والوحدات السكنيه اليوميه، خلينا نسميها. ويعني تقريبا الى حد ما هذه الفكره كامله عن المنصه. ما ادري اذا كان في استفسار او اي شيء حاب تعرفينه عن نفس المنصه يعني.